Septic tanks are the perfect small-scale on-site sewage treatment solution for houses that aren't connected to a sewage network. The tank collects and treats domestic wastewater using a bacterial process to decompose waste and filters the dirty water before it recycles it to the ground. Tanks typically consist of a concrete container with access covers on top. The waste treatment process takes place in separate chambers inside the tank. Reinforcing bars, called rebars, reinforce the concrete structure of the tank. A welder assembles rods to form a cage, using a vice grip to align them, before spot welding the rebar with a MIG welding torch. The welded rebar cage will maintain the integrity of the concrete tank walls. The welder measures the cage's diagonals to make sure it's straight. Next, a worker places rebar spacers to keep the cage centered in the mold and leveled on the floor of the formwork. A crane lowers the cage into a custom formwork made of machined high-strength steel plates. The workers close the walls around the form and secure them in place with heavy-duty locks. The crane lowers machined steel cores to form the interior walls of the tank chambers. A rigid plastic tube is inserted inside a rubber sleeve to form a flow hole between the chambers. Using an acetylene torch, a worker cuts holes for access openings in the tank lid rebar. The mold allows concrete to flow underneath and on top of the rebar and to embed the access opening covers in the lid. Workers pour over 5,000 liters of wet concrete into the mold to form the exterior and interior walls and the floor into a monolithic tank. Then they consolidate the concrete using a stick vibrator to eliminate air pockets, and a worker levels the top of the walls with a putty knife. The mixer pours concrete into a buggy, which workers use to pour the mixture over the top slab rebar. Concrete blocks keep the plastic covers from floating in the wet concrete. The workers use the buggy's discharge chute to direct the flow of the mix. While one pours the concrete in the mold, the other consolidates the mixture with the vibrating stick. A worker trowels the top of the slab to make it smooth and leveled. The next day, the tank is cured and workers prepare to strip the forms. They unlock the formwork walls and strip the cores out of the tank using an overhead crane and a compressed air system to force the mold out from the concrete tank. The crane then takes the stripped core away for cleanup. A worker brushes the top of the walls and sweeps the floor inside the tank, and then installs a butyl rubber tape all around the top of the exterior wall to form a watertight seal between the tank and the lid. An overhead crane lifts the lid out of the formwork and brings it to the tank mold. The crane slowly lowers the lid onto the tank, while workers keep it aligned with the walls to make sure it seals properly. A worker then labels the tank to indicate its capacity. The workers now open the mold to reveal the formed tank. The rubber sleeve molded into the wall ensures a watertight connection between the pipe carrying wastewater from the home and the tank. A service truck takes a finished tank out of the production shop.